Yeah. So yay, this one's completely blank.
Okay, this thing's going.
Oh. Try to focus it now because if I try to do it later sometimes. Last night at the end of the 88 premiere thing, they had a Q&A thing, and I would try to focus it while I was filming it, and like it went blurry for a second.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's like it's only the first like second, like the beginning of it, but like when I post it
But
online,
still.
I'm gonna be like, sorry
Okay.
guys, the beginning of the Q&A part afterwards is a little blurry, but I'm not deleting it because the rest of it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just that like split second because I didn't think to get the camera ready beforehand.
Then you're panicking and...
Yeah, the movie was really good that I bought it as soon as they went out, they were selling it, and it's not released for like another month or something.
Is this the one next door?
Well, it was in that room
Yeah.
yesterday, yeah,
Okay.
last night, because I...
Nobody would have stayed there. I mean, it's like it's,
Is it?
couldn't get any closer to this anyway, so you're not going to go right up to his face, yeah.
I'm going to sit on your lap, Jason. That's okay, right?
I think so. It's going to be right beside the water bottle.
Oh, man. Change seats with me.
I can, like I said, you won't be.
You're right
You'll be
there.
straight on.
Yeah.
Mike.
Right on his eye. Hi. Yesterday, Mike said my name was Your hair is up. Yeah. Well, yeah. I want to do my hair.
Yeah, the reason my other one's filled up because it's got all the pictures from Animate Worth on it too. I should have took them off
Should
before.
have transferred them.
Yeah. But I was thinking, oh, I'll just get them all printed at the same time.
Yeah, but...
I still have to print the ones from Supernatural, so I'm going to be spending a lot when I go to print. I still have to print all my Supernatural ones from last Thanksgiving weekend.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they do it. The Canadian Thanksgiving weekend is the Supernatural.
October.
Yeah.
Where's that one?
It's in Toronto. It's at the Metro Toronto Convention Center this year, but the last couple of years it's been at the Weston Harbour Castle, which is downtown
Okay,
Toronto.
yeah. That would have been good.
Yeah. They had to switch venues because a couple's getting married there and they're using the room and they don't want to like say, sorry, you can't have your wedding because a bunch of fans want to meet celebrities. So, sorry. You're not allowed to get married.
Priorities.
Yeah. We have a bunch of fangirls who want to meet all the
Yeah.
celebrities.
We're here early.
that's what I was saying. We didn't need to leave till 9:30, but if your parents were leaving, we might as well at the same time as them. I took a different way. If we would have came down Mondays Lane, I would have stopped at Starbucks or something. I feel fine now. I'm a little tired. Yeah, I'm just a little tired.
I was tired.
Nothing. She meant to text me. My mom. By mistake. So she was just asking because you remember. I don't know if you ever met Debbie and John. I think they would have been at their wedding. But, they had. Oh. You went. I think I went by myself. Lindsay. So Debbie and John have two daughters, Lindsay and Terry
To the
Lynn.
wedding.
You did? I don't remember that. I think you remember thinking about Melissa.
Oh, maybe Melissa.
So Lindsay lives in Brantford. So her son is in the same soccer league as ours.
Oh.
Just was wondering. Debbie was wondering what color the jerseys were.
Right.
Yeah, I said silver, but gray, whatever. But I haven't seen Lindsay in years, so I probably wouldn't recognize her. She was on the other team. She thinks they wear blue. And we could have played against them 2 weeks ago, and I wouldn't have known. This was red this week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Last week was blue. Right? Or no, I didn't go that week. She said she'd like to come out if she's ever down on a Thursday, so I just told her, well, I go wait till July 9th, which is
So you've been replaced?
by what now?
Exactly there.
So,
Sorry, you've been replaced.
so
Oh, good.
I saw that booth. Okay, so they're going to be at the scene as well.
Oh, I don't want to go this.
No, somebody there was in front of me and just talking. For iPhone 4 was $20. I didn't ask him yours. I thought you'd already talked to him. So.
No, I asked him if he does the phones. He doesn't. Do you do like, Samsung? And he's like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I don't know if I want to because I want a rubber. Yeah. So I drop it. Just gonna break it. Like you drop your phone. But if I was gonna get it, I would either get a Jason one or a Kane one. But I don't know if these Kane is actually next year. Yeah, Dean Kane.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. How are you? It's Sunday morning. Everybody's in church, I think. That's what it is. Let's be the Church of Jason here for the next hour. Good morning, I'm Joe Cahill. We're here for our final day of Comic-Con. Thank you all for coming out. We kick off the day. Yes, let's give it a big hand. We're kicking off the day. Not only is he a cultural icon, a producer, a director, and actor, but I think history will remember him as the inventor of the Priestley donut. It's Jason Priestley right here! Jason! There he is. Okay. Oh, we got that side. What about the other side? There you go. How you doing? Good. I'm good. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. How's everybody doing today? Good? Better now. All right, good. The Priestley donut, it didn't really come to fruition when you made it. They made one, right? And that was it.
No, they made more than one.
Oh, did they?
I've had to eat a lot of them. And they're very sweet. They're way too sweet. They're sickly sweet. But us Canadians, we love our donuts, right? We're a donut-loving country. And yes, that's the Priestley donut. Yes, it's not very good. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Apparently, the writers of How I Met Your Mother are not. They're not donut connoisseurs. Let's be perfectly honest. It's not very good. But it was funny. It was a funny bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Did you actually come up with it? Well, sorry to keep harping on the donut thing. Did you come up with it, or did someone write it into the script that way? Did you actually invent it in your brain? I had a few too many pops.
I was not responsible for that donut. It was the writers of How I Met Your Mother came up with it. I would like to think that I could come up with something better than that. Yeah. If I needed to.
Yeah.
But it was I hold them personally responsible.
Pizza stuff, don't they?
As do my teeth and as does my liver.
If anyone has any questions, you can certainly just raise your hand. We're just like back in Beverly Hills School, whatever you guys want to do. Let's talk about 90210, and I know, sorry. We're still here for it. Was that like another life ago for you now? Because producing and acting and with your HBO series and just everything that you're on doing currently, does it seem like it was like another life ago?
It does, absolutely. It feels like it was so long ago and so many other careers ago, it feels like it was another lifetime. And so many people that worked on that show and I worked on that show with are either out of the business or I put in the ground. It's really been, it felt like 1,000 years ago. And like even how we shot that show and the format that we shot that show on film. People don't even use film anymore. Like it was a different time and it was a different way of telling stories. And we all as filmmakers, we've had to learn to use new technologies to tell the stories that we tell. As actors, we've had to learn to act differently because you know the style of acting has changed since then, you know, and you have to act in far more realistic ways than we acted back then. I mean, you know, in the 80s and 90s, you know, the style of acting was much different than it is now. You know, and if you if you don't keep up with the times, you get left in the dust. You know, and so it really feels like that show was a whole other lifetime.
One Shannon question, that'll be it for me. Are you guys good? I know that there was some, not controversy, but after your memoirs came out and she did the Twitter thing and you responded so gracefully. Again, it goes back to the people, even in here, you know, when you bring up that dynamic on screen as sister and brother on the show, it's almost like they still want you to be sister and brother, and how dare you guys are fighting it out.
No, Shannon and I never fought back then. Shannon and I don't fight now. I got nothing but love for Shannon. I had nothing but love for her back then. I got nothing but love for her now. Shannon's great, man, and I love Shannon, and I wish her nothing but the best, always.
And you're still racing cars, but you're still in the car motorsport business?
Not really, no, not much. I mean, I do a little bit of karting now and again, just for fun. But you know, I've got a 7-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy, and I'd rather spend my weekends with them than at a racetrack with a bunch of dudes.
They probably wouldn't like you anymore either.
Oh no, oh no, sure, you know, my wife and kids, you know, I think I'm probably worth more to them dead than alive at this point in time. So they have no problem with me getting in a race car.
Anybody, let's kick off some questioning out there. Just stand up and yell as loud as you can. Yes, sir.
Experience with the movies, like going to the movies? like or being in the movies?
Like being in the movies, like in the, not like the main box office movies, but like the ones that...
Being in the B movies, right? Yes. Okay. How did I experience my time with the celebrity ladies? It's a very good question. I didn't have you know, did I have a lot of high profile celebrity ladies? Put that anyway. I didn't, you know, I wasn't a guy who always had a lot of celebrity girlfriends. You know, I wasn't a guy who was always attracted to famous women just because they, you know, were famous. I was attracted to women because of the women that they were, as opposed to being attracted to women because they had their name above the title. I sort of believe that there's usually room for one big ego in the house, and probably my ego is probably enough. There's probably only one room for my ego in the house. That's probably why most Hollywood marriages don't last very long, because there's only room for one. How did I do with the celebrity ladies back in the 90s? Yeah, probably not very well. How's my B movie career doing these days? It's actually doing quite well, to tell you the truth. I seem to tick along pretty nicely on the B movie list. and have done for a very long time, which is good. I haven't slid down to the C list.
You're still on the A list.
It's a good place. Thank you. I'm like clinging on to the bottom of the A list, maybe. Solidly on the B list. It's a good place. It's a good place to be. If you can hang on, if you can hang in there and stay there consistently for a long time. It's people that are like, that shoot to the top of the A list and then tragically slide very quickly to the D list. That's not a fun ride. But I think if you can like hang in the middle of the B list for 20, 30 years, you've had a good career. The careers seem to be getting much shorter these days, for whatever reason. Whether it's just that because of social media or whatever it is. Everybody has so much more access to celebrities, and they all of a sudden the movie stars don't the mystery. There's no more mystery in movie stars. So you go to the movies and you see somebody playing, trying to play Abraham Lincoln, and you're like, dude, that guy's not Abe Lincoln. I saw him on a reality show last week taking a dump. I'm not buying that. Like you can't. But when certain actors that you really don't know much about, when you see them do it, you're like, wow, I believe that guy's Abe Lincoln. But if you saw Kim Kardashian try to do it, you'd be like, she ain't Abe Lincoln. I saw her sex tape, man. Come on, So there's a certain amount of mystery that I think all of the access and the social media of it all has taken away from a lot of these young actors that just open the doors to everybody and let everybody in there. Hey man, I'm gonna take an Instagram of me and my here's my house and here's my stuff and here's me and my dogs and my stuff and here's look my new car, everybody. All of a sudden there's no more. It's hard for people to accept you in anything other than the world that you're showing them all the time, which is your real life. And maybe they don't really want to know that. They want to believe that you're whoever you're portraying on television. They want to believe that you're Superman on the Superman show that you're playing, or they want to believe that you're Captain America. They don't want to know that you're really Jason Priestley. And hey man, look, I'm buying sunglasses, dude. Check me out. People don't want to know that. You know what I mean? Or maybe they do they? Give me some feedback, people. Send it to me in my Twitter account. At Jason_Priestley.
Did you always want to be a director? Because you did direct episodes of 90210. Was that orchestrated by you? Did they say, hey,
that was all part of my evil plan.
Is it what
all
that was?
Part of my grand evil plan.
Is that something you always wanted to do?
Yes. It was something I started directing theater in high school.
Okay.
So I started bossing around children when I was still a child. And then when I became an adult, I thought, hey man, now I can start bossing around adults. This is great. So I saw that I would have an opportunity to start directing on Beverly Hills 90210. I just kept bugging Aaron Spelling and bugging him and bugging him and bugging him, and finally, he was old, and he just got tired of it after a while. He was like, Jesus kid, stop. I'll give you an episode if you just stop bugging me. And for some foolish reason, he handed over the keys to his most successful TV show to me, a 23-year-old kid, and he gave me an episode to direct. And the episode went very well. And the only thing he said to me was, I see the kids in the room. He said, "Don't fuck this up." And so I apparently I didn't, because the next year he gave me 2 more episodes, and the year after that he gave me 3 episodes to direct, and then he started giving me 5 episodes a year to direct. Apparently he wanted me to be very tired and overworked on the show as well, which he succeeded. And it led to me having a very long and fruitful career behind the camera as well, which has been very good for me.
In the back there, hi.
Hi, sorry, I have an attitude question.
Okay.
What was the favorite storyline that you did as Brandon on 90210?
Favorite storyline? Wow. Favorite storyline? That's difficult because they all sort of, they were all so soft, and they were all so just sort of like, they all just kind of laid there, didn't they? Well, I mean, everybody loved Donna Martin Graduates. That was one of those seminal TV moments, wasn't it? Oh my God, Donna Martin Graduates. Yeah, I'll go with that one. I love that one. That was one of my favorite days on set ever. I think we had about 400 extras on set that day, and when I led them all in the chant of Donna Martin, what I really had, their children knew, we really can't talk like this. But I'm sure you've heard what I really had them all saying that day. Yeah, and the producers, and they were all very upset. And there were a bunch of Fox executives on the set that day. It was fantastic. Really funny. Kids, you'll read about this later.
How did you enjoy playing such a D-bag on Hollywood?
It was fantastic. It was awesome. You know, Richard Fitzpatrick was one of those characters that as an actor, you know, so much fun to play because there are no rules. You know, you can get away with anything and do anything. Well, thank you. That was, I mean, that was the big challenge with him was to make that character who does so many bad things to keep him a likable character, and it was, you know, you know, and sort of, you know, the way that I went around that, the way I got around that was to make sure that all of the bad things that Fitz did, you know, they were all rooted in some sort of psychological trauma that happened to him when he was younger, and it was pretty easy to mine that. You know, all you had to do was look at his family and understand that he came from this family of, you know, alcoholic, rageaholic, drug addicts, and you know, it was pretty easy to figure out things that happened to him when he was younger and find the psychological scars that were there to justify the behaviors that he was doing at any given time. And it made it really fun, and really free, and you know, and just the other actors on that show were all so incredibly talented, and you know, we had an incredibly talented group out there, and we just were able to have a really good time making that show, and you know, 48 episodes of awesome. It's really what it was. It was really great. Yes, sir.
It's kind of similar to like not just being a jerk there, but before that, when you got to play the evil character on True Calling, and how that was.
Well, I mean, you know, Jack was Jack was another one. You know, he did what I think you know were typical or bad things, but in his mind, he was keeping the universe in order, right? So everything that he did, he was totally justified. He thought he was totally justified in doing, which made his path very clear and very direct. Which he was a really fun character to play too, and I think working on that show was for me working on that show was a lot of fun. You know, I got to go back to Vancouver and and be in my hometown, and I got to work with Zach Galifianakis, and I got to. The work I did with Eliza Dushku was really great. I thought, I wanted that show to go for 10 years. I mean, we were having a great time on that show, and all of a sudden one day they came to us and said, all right guys, this is the last episode, finish up, and you're all going home. And we all looked at each other like, what are you talking about, man? Like, the ratings were going up every week, and everything was we all thought was going really well on the show. And, it was one of those situations where the woman who had been the head of the Fox network got fired, and the new head of the network came in and said, "All right, so what do we got on the board here? What's that true code? Yeah, cancel it." And that was it. And they came up and said, "All right, that's it. You guys are done." And that's, those kind of decisions get made a lot in Hollywood, and that was it. But it was sad because I think we liked that show. And if you look at shows like Medium, Medium hadn't even come on the air yet, and True Calling was really a precursor to that show. And Medium went on for 7 years. I mean, it was really just ahead of its time. It was sad. I was sad to see that show.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, sorry. Get your hair back. I'm sorry. My eyes are not what they used to be.
I recently discovered following you on Twitter, and your family is so beautiful. I wanted to know if your kids have shown any artistic performers and if you're encouraging those or discouraging those.
It's funny you should ask that. Thank you, by the way. I'm rather fond of my children too. They have not really shown any interest in the performing arts, thank God. Would I encourage them? I will not encourage them at all. And if they say, "Daddy, I think I want to go on this audition," I'll say, "No. Stay in school. Stay in school. Stay in school. Stay in school." I think that, it's become much more difficult now to break into creative endeavors than it was. Back when I did it, I went to theater school to learn how to do what I do. But it feels like everybody has a degree in dramatic arts now. Yeah, right. I mean, it's it used to be, the theater school I went to was really small, and when I got out and went to it was people were like, "Oh my God, you went to theater school? Jesus, man, you actually know how to do what we're all doing? Holy crap!" And now, everyone goes to Ryerson, everyone's got a degree, and everyone's saying, "Holy Jesus, man, you guys are all really smart. Holy cow!" It's way more competitive now. There's so many more people, and there's so many more agencies, and there's so much more. And there's no more money either. There's everyone's trying to do so much more for so much less money, and it's really gotten tough, and I feel like and the technology is moving so fast, and it used to be set up where you could do things, and you could create a body of work, and then you would earn residuals, and you could, but all of that system is falling apart now. The whole residual system is falling apart because of piracy, and because of streaming, and because of the internet. So like the whole way that it worked for years and years and years is now, because of the technologies that we have all built, is now starting to crumble. So I don't know what the future looks like. So I would discourage my children from going into the field that has been very good to me, by the way, but I would discourage it from entering into it because I don't know what that future landscape is going to look like.
You were all instrumental in getting the Bare Naked Ladies a lot of here to play down in the United States.
Yep.
How did that all come about? Was that a case of you're a Canadian kid down in LA? I love these guys, they rock when no one's going to hear, and I have to do something about it? Was that essentially how it all came? Was just a fan first?
Yeah, sort of, kind of. Yeah. Kind of, yeah. It kind of happened. Sort of, and yeah, that was sort of the broad strokes of it. And I became friendly with the guys, and it was sort of a case of young hubris. They were sitting at my house one night, and we were having dinner, they were complaining to me about, because they were up here in Toronto and they were spending all this money on all these music videos and they were saying, oh man, this last video we shot, we spent $150,000 and no one ever saw it, I think they played it on, CHCH and we got one rotation on Much Music and, man, we're wasting all this money, what are we gonna do? And I think we were on our 8th or 9th bottle of wine at the time. And I said to the guys, I'll direct a music video for you. I'll come to Toronto. I'll do it for you. I'll do it for $50,000. I'll get it shown over. I'll get it. So they said, all right, cool. When are you coming? I said, I'm going to Nova Scotia to shoot a movie. I'll stop by on my way to Nova Scotia. So I did, and I stopped by in Toronto for 4 days, and I shot the music video for the old apartment. And when it was done, I sent it to VH1 to VH1 in New York. And I sent it with a note to the guy who was the president of VH1. I said, hey, I shot this music video with this band. These guys in Toronto, they're friends of mine. Well, take a look and see what you think. And he watched the video and he called me. He was like, this video's awesome. Who are these guys? What? I said, these bare naked ladies. And he was like, I'm going to put this in rotation on VH1. I was like, dude, awesome. Done. Mic drop. Boom.
And the monster was created.
Yeah, and that was it. And then all of a sudden the guys started getting airplane in America, and off they went. And then in another act of youthful hubris, I was they were then telling me a story. I was back doing something stupid with them, and they were telling me a story about that they left Toronto and they played the old Maple Leaf Garden. They were 18,000 screaming fans. It was unbelievable. And they got on their tour bus and they drove to somewhere in South Carolina, and they went there and they played down there and they went there and played in some 4,000 seat auditorium, and there were like 250 people there. And they were like, it's just so weird to us, in Canada we played sold out hockey arenas. We go anywhere south of the border states, and there's nobody there. And I said, oh my God, this is super funny. I want to shoot a movie about that. A documentary about this Canadian band that's so famous in Canada. And they go to America, and there's, crickets, right? That would be so funny. And, these guys, Bare Naked, you guys know Bare Naked Ladies, they're all so funny, right? So I said, I'm going to shoot this documentary, right? Bare Naked in America. So I think this is a super awesome, famous band, and we'll go to America, and there'll be nobody there. And so I set up to shoot this documentary. And they go, all right, we're just going to go record this record, and then we'll go on tour, and we'll shoot that. All right, great, so that's what we're going to do. And they go off to record the record, and the record they record is Stunt. And they released a single right when we were about to go on the road, and that was 1 week. And so now they have the #1 single in America, and the whole documentary just goes out the window. Everywhere they go, we sold out hockey arenas. Thanks, guys.
We need you to do a tragically hit video now, too. Bye.
On Caveman, when you had the trouble of everyone loving you,
Yeah.
was that the trouble you had chosen for yourself?
Absolutely. That was a fun trouble to have. It was pretty good, and I think we all had fun with that. Sean Pillar, who's the showrunner on that show, when they were coming up with that trouble, and they were gonna have that. They were going to do that. They were coming up with that character of Brody, and what they were going to do. He actually thought of me for that, and he called me because he's a friend of mine. And he called me up and he said, "Hey, we're gonna create this character. And he's going to be, we're gonna do a 4-episode arc with him, and do you think you want to come out here to Nova Scotia and play this character? I said yeah, because I was actually a fan of the show, and I've been watching the show because Sean's a buddy of mine, and so I went out there and did it. It was a lot of fun. And then I directed a couple episodes of that show. It was a really good show. I think there's 13 more episodes left to air, right? Yeah, and it's good. Brody may make an appearance in the last, I can neither totally confirm or deny those allegations, but he may make an appearance. Aye.
With all the reality TV shows that are on right now, would you ever consider doing one as a celebrity? Amazing Race, Survivor, Dancing?
Let me think about that for a second. No. No, I can't. Just going back to what I was talking about earlier, I think that, I think you need to keep a distance from the audience. I think that, there needs to be some mystery between you and, you need to keep a little bit of distance there. You can't be doing reality shows if you ever want the audience to go with you on the journeys that you want to take them on as a performer. If they see you in your kitchen making bacon, hey everybody, I'm Jason Priestley, and I'm sitting here. Hey, look, here's my wife. Hey everyone, here's my wife. It takes away any opportunity for any believability later on. I think.
Not necessarily of your life, but as a
Oh, as a contestant, you mean? Oh.
And Survivor.
The Amazing Race Canada. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think.
Like Ryan and Jenny did Dance with the Stars.
Yeah, no, I won't be doing Dance with the Stars. I saw Alfonso was dancing in the last night at the cave. That dude can dance. I know. I can't move like that. I mean, that's not right. He's good. He's good. I can't do that. I'm too broken. Yes. Now you might be onto something there. Hi.
Is there anything that you regret not doing, like in movies or TV shows that you passed up?
Yeah, I probably should have taken the James Bond gig when they offered it to me. I'm kidding. No, I don't. I don't have any regrets. I think I've always been quite thoughtful and quite careful about things, and I've tried to weigh things out quite carefully, and I think I've done it. I think I've done everything okay. And there's nothing that I passed on that I think, oh man, I should have done that. I think I've done all right. I mean, because even the things that I look back on, I go, wow, maybe I shouldn't have made that movie. They've gotten me to the place I am now, which is good. I mean, I'm really happy in the place I am now in my career, which is good.
Do you appreciate now living in the States, but you're a Canadian, and just the fact that Canadians are so proud, they want you to do so well. They also appreciate the fact that you have never forgotten your Canadian roots, and that whole diametric kind of where we want our celebrities to really love us back, even though they're not here anymore. It's almost like that Canadianism where you have to go away to become famous or just being, appreciated by your own country.
Right.
Is that
Yeah.
something that you ever thought about at all, or is it anything that's human? Is it a humble sort of thing?
The Canadian star system, it's called America, yeah. They knew they were talking about it, right? It's nice. It's always nice for me to come back to Canada, and it's always nice for me. And I always feel very supported by Canada and by Canadians, and so it's always very nice for me to come back here. And I do. I work a lot here in Canada because there is always a lot of work here, and there's always a lot of work here. I seem to work a lot in Toronto, oddly enough these days. I just got a new series picked up on Global, a show called The Code, which I'm gonna start shooting later this fall. So that's going to be nice to be back on Canadian television, which is exciting for me. So it's good. It's always been good to work here, and I've always but I've also always felt it's important to work here in Canada because I always. The Canadian film and television industry is where I learned my craft, and so I've always felt it's important to come back to Canada and support the industry. So I've always made sure to come back here and work, and so it's always been a very symbiotic relationship we've had.
You take the can of Tim Hortons coffee back home with you every time.
Every time, no question.
Anything else for Jason? Hi.
When you're directing something, do you have the vision already in your head before you get on the set? And then the second part of that is, if the vision's not coming together, what techniques do you use to get the actors to, make the vision happen?
I used to have a much more rigid vision in my head, and as I've gotten older and more experienced as a director, my vision has become more flexible because I think that you need to be more flexible as a director, and I think that talented actors bring so much to the table that you need to be able to take from them all the good stuff that they bring to the floor, and so you can, and as a director you'll have very definite things about shots and shot selection and stuff like that, but when it comes to performances, I'm very flexible with my actors because I'm being an actor myself, I love to work the scenes with the actors, and a scene may start one way and end up 180 degrees the other way. I mean, it's just the way it is. And when you get on the floor with a group of actors, you may find the scene just isn't working at all, and you need to go and huddle and rewrite the scene and rework the scene and bring it back to the floor and reblock it and redo it. It's pretty common that happens as well.
Anybody else? Hi.
Yeah, Jason, how was the food at the Peach Pit, and is it true that it was based on the apple pan and went
It is true that it was based on the apple pan and the original Peach Pit, but if you look at the first season of the show, the original Peach Pit was actually pretty much a knockoff of the apple pan. It had a U-shaped counter and the whole thing. That's good that you know that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good trivia. The food itself at the Peach Pit, our prop master, Gary Antista, would actually go to the Fat Burger that was right around the corner from our studio and get all the food and bring it in. So it was actually Fat Burger food that we used to eat at the Peach Pit. So that being said, it was crappy.
And you brought the bare naked ladies in there to do the After Dark thing as well.
Yes. There were all kinds of people played at the After Dark. It was a who's who of '90s music rolled through there. Everyone from Christina Aguilera to Color Me Bad. Everybody was in there, and oh my God, it was horrible. Oh my, it was a 90s Where Are They Now episode.
Any final questions for Jason? Yes.
Calendar Girl on Blu-ray. I would no, I don't think so. I don't think, no, I would wager, I would hold on to your VHS copy of that.
That's it? Nothing else for Jason? We still have a few more. Hi.
Did you show the code? What is it about?
The Code is it's a detective show about a guy named Brad Shade. Brad Shade is Brad Shade was a sort of a journeyman hockey player who was a scout for the LA Kings, who then becomes a private detective and uses his what were his skills as a hockey player, and then as a scout, he uses those skills as a private detective, and that's the basis for the show. Yeah.
Didn't get much more Canadian than that, I guess.
No, you can't. You really can't.
And speaking of hockey, okay, we're tied up. Where's it going to end up? Stanley Cup Finals.
Well, I mean, before last night, I would have, Chicago all the way. But man, that was a pretty good drubbing last night. Those are a couple of soft goals last night.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think, I think at the end of the day, I think Chicago will bounce back from that. They got a lot of really experienced players on that team, and I think Chicago will do it. But I think it'll go the distance.
Yeah,
I think Tampa Bay's got more resilience than a lot of people give credit for.
One final, anything, what? And then Jason's going to go back to his spot on Celebrity Row. Yes, sir.
In the episode of Jeremiah, your character was a little over the top. Did you have a good time playing that?
Yeah, very much so. That was a lot of fun, that show, and that episode was actually directed by Peter DeLuise, my old friend from 21 Jump Street. So obviously Luke was the star of that show, and so Luke and I had a lot of fun working on that show, and being able to work with Peter again was a lot of fun for me. And that character was a little over the top, but playing those kind of guys is a lot of fun. And he was fun. It was a good time.
Head back to the States after this, and you're back in Canada when?
No, I'm heading to Calgary today to go to the BAM TV Festival. Got to go do some business out there, and then I head home after that.
Perfect. Jason, always a pleasure. Great seeing you. Jason Priestley, everybody.